Well, racing is coming up at 1 today after the story of the race to select the next Pope.
This is the greatest show on earth right now. I mean, there's something about this whole thing that conjures up the imagination, or, kind of tickles the imagination of people around the world.
The Vatican has been described as a village of washerwomen. People talk, things come out.
It's got the politics, it's got the pageantry.
I don't think you could get a better piece of theatre in the world.
The media dimension is overwhelming this time.
It's got the suspense, it's got faith, mystery, superstition, all that stuff rolled into one.
You know, as Catholics, we believe the Holy Spirit has a hand in this.
I'm not Catholic at all, I'm Jewish.
It's a truly open horse race. Anybody could come out on that balcony. Anybody could be Pope.
The funeral of John Paul II was the largest public event in history. But as much as it was an ending, it was also a beginning. The beginning of the race to succeed him. In Rome in April 2005, 115 cardinals from all over the world were given the task of choosing the 264th pontiff since St. Peter. This is the story of how that historic process unfolded and how a new pope came to power. It's 8 days after the Pope's funeral. This is the French college in Rome, where the cardinals from Marseille, Lyon and Mauritius are staying. Before actual formal voting for a new pope begins, all 115 cardinals in Rome get together for a series of informal daily meetings. The 3 cardinals are getting into their Skoda to go to today's meeting. The English also have their own base in Rome. The Archbishop of Westminster, Cardinal Cormac Murphy O'Connor, is on his way to the same meeting.
All right, thank you. How are you?
Very nice to see
Good.
you.
Well, all coming up to the big days now.
Oh, is it exciting?
Well, exciting is, it's exciting, but also there's a sense of grave responsibility, really.
Yes, I can imagine.
Where's that car? Just tied up. Good.
My cardinal this week, I've seen him grow into his role and to realise that actually the entire future of the church rests on the shoulders of these 115 men who have to make decisions this week. Well, this week the cardinals have all been meeting every day in what are called general congregations. These last usually about 2 hours, and they're in the Vatican. And they've been taking this week a kind of health check of the church. They've been looking at all the aspects of the church that need to be looked at, and they're thinking about the future of the church, and they're also looking at the state of the world.
The general congregations are held behind closed doors. Once they're over, the cardinals have an opportunity to get to know each other.
Many of the cardinals have been created in the last couple of years, indeed almost half the college. So the process of them getting to know each other just in this last week and a half or so has been a fairly big process, and I don't know that it's been completely accomplished.
The world's media have assembled en masse to cover the unfolding drama, but secrecy is the Vatican's watchword. The cardinals have been strictly forbidden to say anything, least of all to the thousands of press.
Well, we're actually here in the middle of this restaurant/parking garage, which was made during the Jubilee year, trying to get work done amidst pasta and clinking dishes and glasses. We've got networks from all over the world. We're here back in the corner. We've got Mother Teresa keeping watch over us, making sure we don't get out of line. But we have all of our machines in here, not like home. Everything's mobile, and we get all the feeds from Vatican Television, and we cover it, we edit it right here. I think the media is having, I'm not going to say whether it's negative or positive, I just think they're having an effect, because cardinals, they'll admittedly say they don't know each other. Many of them been cardinals only for 2 years, for example. John Paul II appointed 95% of these cardinals. So they're young in terms of being cardinals and inexperienced. So if they don't know each other, but they're watching the major networks, and they're so-and-so, he's doing a lot in his archdiocese. Oh, so-and-so is a little bit controversial. Maybe you want to stay away from this one. So I think the media is having an impact by just letting these cardinals get to know each other all over the world. They're learning about each other through the media, I think.
There are really 6,000 members of the media and only 100 and some cardinals. That's not very many to go. They are really unslowed. We've spoken to priests who were giving they said their 26th interview of the week.
I've got U.S. cardinals who are in from the States. No luck. So we spent a lot of our time sort of just sort of stalking the cardinals, shadowing them, trying to get any little tidbit, any piece of color.
While the media are desperately hunting a story, the cardinals are holding one of the last of their daily masses before the formal voting begins. The week-long media blackout has greatly increased speculation as to those who are in the running for Pope. What the Vatican watchers call the papabile.
We've had our papabile list now for years, and I've had, for the last 2 years, you needed to have at least 5 you could talk about. And everyone's thrown their list out the window. They're in there. I couldn't pick one if you paid me. I think that's the problem with the cardinals right now. There's not one front runner.
It could be anybody, but in practice we know that actually it's likely to be one of possibly 10 men.
If the church is worried about Asia, which is the final frontier in their mind for evangelization, China, then you may go with a Diaz from Bombay, or you may go with a Pell from Australia.
I can't see a very convincing Asian or African, and I think those churches are perhaps a bit too young.
If they're worried about losing Catholics in South America, they're going to look to Maradiaga or Humas.
I'm looking at Latin America.
But if they're worried about the Curia, they might just stick with one of their Italians.
I threw out the Milan Archbishop, Tettamanzi.
Papa Tettamanzi.
But, this will be on there 6 months from now, so you'll all be able to laugh at me.
Tettamanzi, the Archbishop of Milan, very considerable figure. Considered perhaps a little bit too parochial. He only speaks Italian, hasn't travelled much.
Ratzinger, obviously.
Ratzinger.
Cardinal Ratzinger is a formidable figure. He's a heavyweight theologian, and he's very well known to the cardinals. He very much looks like a pope in waiting.
It's the day before the formal voting for a new pope actually begins. Tourists are still thronging into St. Peter's to visit John Paul II's tomb. Once the formal voting begins, the cardinals who elect the new pope go into total seclusion inside the Vatican. This process is known as the conclave. In fact, the Latin phrase conclave means locked with key. Cardinal Vitayatil from India is getting ready for the big day.
Tomorrow we go into conclave. We are kept under lock and key. We are supposed to have no communication with the world. That is some historical reason for that, because the emperors and kings used to try to influence the papal election. We don't know one another very much, except a few cardinals. I think we have to ask, where are you from, and all that. Because we are 115 of electors, so I know only very few of them. But we are given a biography of each cardinal, what he was and his bio data, and so we can get some idea.
And while Cardinal Vitayatil reads up on his colleagues, other cardinals engage in last-minute duties. The cardinal from Nicaragua is meeting the Guatemalan ambassador to the Vatican. And on the other side of Rome, the cardinal from Marseille gives his last mass before going into the seclusion of the conclave. Later on in the afternoon, all 115 cardinals are driven into the Vatican, where they'll stay until the election of the new pope. The uniforms of the Vatican's Swiss Guards were designed by no less a figure than Michelangelo, though the raincoats weren't part of the original collection.
The cardinals go into their residence, which is called the Domus Sancta Marta. It's a brand new, very plush residence being built inside the Vatican by Pope John Paul II. That's where they'll live for the next few days until they elect a pope.
They'll spend tonight unwinding, unpacking. They have dinner at 7 p.m., and then it's just quiet time. So the creature comforts are fine. They're able to have their own bathrooms, their own bedrooms, a sitting room. And so tonight, I don't think many of them will sleep very well. All the shutters, I understand, have been secured shut, so no one can open their windows and look outside either. I think there'll be a lot of people who are up late reading, or the light will be out and the eyes will be open.
On Monday morning, a special Mass is to be held at St. Peter's. It's called the Votive Mass because it's only ever held immediately before the election of a pope. It'll be the last public appearance of the cardinals before they go into the conclave. The head of the cardinals, Cardinal Ratzinger, delivers a homily, which many see as his election platform.
Si va costituendo una dittatura del relativismo che non riconosce nulla come definitivo e che lascia come ultima misura solo il proprio io e le sue voglie.
Many people were shocked at Cardinal Ratzinger's homily. A lot of the mainstream media took what he said about a dictatorship of relativism and were shocked with it. But that's Ratzinger. Ratzinger was saying that a month ago, 6 months ago, 26 years ago. I mean, that's Ratzinger.
Meanwhile, tourists continue to flood into Rome from around the world to witness the extraordinary events. Many are attracted by their faith, others are drawn merely by a curious fascination.
I have become a complete Vatican watcher, so I'm like, like I'm obsessed with like papal things now. So
how come? Are you Catholic, or is it just the kind of?
I'm not Catholic at all. I'm Jewish. So I just decided like I happened to be here, at the time, so I've kind of embraced everything. I waited in line 7 hours to see the Pope and stuff.
One of the peripheral excitements is the sale of special stamps by the Vatican Post Office. These sede vacante stamps, meaning vacant seat, are issued only during the very rare periods when there is no pope.
I've missed out on getting the set. They had like a set, but I got the 80-cent thing. Are they pretty? This is the first time I've had a chance to look at them. Yeah, they're kind of cool. It's like an angelic umbrella, quite literally. An angel holding an umbrella. Yeah, they're pretty.
As the day draws in, the conclave finally begins. Inside the Vatican, all 115 cardinals who will be voting for the new pope solemnly process into the Sistine Chapel, while the papal singer invokes the help of all the Catholic saints. The real business of electing a new pope has now begun.
They take an oath that they will abide by absolute secrecy during the conclave and thereafter the conclave. They cannot speak anything except with the express permission of the new pope.
Nevertheless, in a departure from their normal policy of complete secrecy, the Vatican is relaying the ceremonial opening of the conclave on 4 large screens to the crowd outside.
Even the cardinals who've been sort of at it for a long time, 14 years, like Cardinal Mahoney, they've never done a conclave. They've never participated in a conclave. So in a way, there is a great equalizer in that regard. And so everybody's just as nervous as everybody else, I think. And if they say they're not, then they should be.
There's been an ecclesiastic who has been chosen beforehand who will give the cardinals what I call a little pep talk.
in hac electiones
And no prizes for guessing who's been chosen.
cardinales electores promittimus.
Okay, gentlemen, you're here. Well, you've taken your oath, and now the task is before you.
Et diligenter observaturos omnia que continentur in constitutione apostolica.
At 5:28 p.m., anyone who's not a voting cardinal is ordered to leave, and the doors of the Sistine Chapel shut firmly. The conclave begins.
When they're actually inside the Sistine Chapel, there is virtually no discussion. It's just voting. But they have the time in between. They have lunch, and they have breaks, and they have dinner. And as the first hours and days of the conclave progress, that the consensus will build behind one or two candidates, and we'll eventually get a pope.
Even though it's only the first day, it's thought possible that there might be a vote. People wait, and wait, and wait.
The ballot is very tiny. It's only 1 inch square, that's all it is. And when it's folded twice, as it will be, it's minuscule. But it has the words elego in summum pontificem, I elect as Roman pontiff, and a space where they will write. Now, what's fascinating here is that they're encouraged in the Constitution to disguise their writing. The cardinals will then go to the high altar in the Sistine Chapel, and they will hold their vote that it can be seen they have one vote. What happens next is that the first scrutineer will put the paten over the chalice and shake them, mix them all up. It's the job of the third scrutineer, before announcing the final tallies, to take a needle and thread and pierce the word elego, I elect. And so all the ballots are on a thread, which they then tie, and eventually, another vote being taken, these will be burned.
It could be 7 or 8 o'clock before they think about whether they want to have a first vote or not. The first day is very ceremonial and full of all sorts of official actions. So there could be a vote, there could be a vote the next day. I mean, if you have 115 men, you're looking at least 115 minutes. It takes you a minute to take your ballot all the way up to the altar, you pray, you put the thing into the chalice, and so on and so forth.
If the smoke is white, they've added a chemical to the ballot papers, and that's known as the fumata bianca, the white smoke, and that signals that the church has a new pope. But it ought to be said that sometimes these fumate are quite unreliable, and that in previous conclaves people have said, well, what colour is it? Is it white or is it black?
An hour later than expected, the first smoke appears. Many believe it to be white. The puffs of smoke grow thicker and blacker. The crowds finally realize they'll have to wait at least until tomorrow for any possibility of a new pope. Tuesday the 19th was only the second day of the conclave. No one was seriously expecting a result. But in fact, this did turn out to be the big day.
We're hoping at noon we'll know something or not, and we'll all have to run out and be crazy for the next 24 hours straight writing about the new pope, or we'll be able to go off and have a nice bowl of pasta.
A little before noon, the result of the morning ballot is relayed to the world. Yet again, there is confusion amongst the crowd as to the color of the smoke.
Don't you think it looks gray?
I think it does look black.
Despite initial appearances, it proves to be black once again. The gathered crowd and media will have to wait until the afternoon for the results of the next two votes.
In the media age, this is the greatest show on earth right now. It's got the politics, it's got the pageantry, it's got the suspense, it's got faith and religion and mystique, mystery. superstition, all that stuff rolled into one. And some people really fall for it hook, line, and sinker, you know. And a lot of it is, you just have to take a whole lot of it with a grain of salt.
Well, it's nearly time.
Okay, should we go up? Every day, the cardinals in the conclave vote twice in the morning and twice in the afternoon. Now, the approximate time for the end of the day is noon, and the end of the afternoon is 7 p.m. If they should elect the Pope on the first ballot this afternoon, for example, it would be, they went in at 4 o'clock, should be coming any moment now. I don't think it's going to happen, but I want to be here just in case it does. Ma quali giornali fa? Ma oggi questi sono...
Questo è di oggi. Questo in inglese è dei note.
Claudio's been working here since
Ho
1978.
iniziato a vendere i giornali per terra qua.
And he started working here selling newspapers in the square at the
E
conclave.
poi mi hanno assunto in Vaticano.
Then he got a job inside the Vatican, and he's one of the writers inside the Vatican for L'Osservatore Romano in Italian. And he's a good friend of mine because we eat lunch together. And when I used to work at Vatican Radio, we eat lunch together at the Vatican cafeteria, the Mensa.
Ok.
Bene, auguri.
Grazie, ci vediamo.
Prego.
L'Osservatore Romano di oggi, ultima edizione.
There's no real special viewing place. Yeah, I think what's nice about this, I could go up on the top there and kind of watch it from above and like a bird's eye view. But I think it's really nice to just be with the crowd, and you know, you get a sense of the crowd when you're down here with the people. I mean, there's something about this whole thing that conjures up the imagination, or you know, kind of tickles the imagination of people around the world. You can have a great discussion about it, whether or not it's appropriate in the 21st century. But look at this place. I mean, it's incredible. There's white smoke. Holy cow! They have elected a new pope. They had to have. There's smoke. There's smoke. It's white smoke. Okay, ciao.
Est-ce que les cloches sonnent?
No, it's impossible. They already had 2 votes. It's not white. It's early. Too early to have 2 elections, but maybe they have. It is dark. It's black, though.
Did you think it was white?
Well, I thought it was. I mean, I didn't expect to see any smoke until around 7 o'clock, because they vote twice in the afternoon. But this is definitely not white smoke. Kind of gray. I'm a bit kind of confused about this. The bells, in this conclave, they will ring the bells when there's white smoke. So. It looks very white. It's white. It's white smoke. But the bells are not ringing yet. This is white smoke. This is definitely white smoke. Wow. First time in 26 years. Wow, look at the crowd. It's really converging. Look at this.
Au quatrième ou au cinquième tour de scrutin, parce que ça on ne le sait pas.
I'm listening to Vatican Radio right now, and even on Vatican Radio, they said no one expected the smoke to come out this early. So, I mean, I was surprised when I saw it, as you remember. I said, not supposed to be this early, around 7. How could they have voted twice already?
Beh, no, contemporaneamente. Ma no, ma è nero e bianca. No.
I don't think we can get in there.
Allô, ça y est. Allô. Oui.
It's a 6 o'clock bell.
I think so. I think it's just a 6 o'clock bell. I mean, it is 6 o'clock.
Tutti fuori.
See, on Vatican Radio, they were talking to somebody from...
Sorry, we have to go out, perché qua dobbiamo liberare per le forze armate. Grazie.
For le Forze Armate. They want to keep this for the army. The Forze Armate, the armed services are coming.
Why the army?
Maybe they're going to play a song or something. They've elected a new pope.
The unexpected tolling of the Vatican bell creates tremendous excitement about who's been elected Pope.
If it's within 3 days, it'll be an Italian. If it's within 5 days, it will be a European. And if it's beyond 5 days, then it's wide open. I've got butterflies in my stomach because I really didn't expect it to be this quick, quite honestly. I mean, I think there's apprehension because we want a good Pope. And
Do you think it could be Ratzinger?
Could be. There's a ceremony that follows. The new Pope is taken in what they call the Room of Tears, the Stanza delle Lacrime. So he's going to get dressed, and then they bring him back into the Sistine Chapel. The cardinals will promise obedience to him. And then the Camerlengo and the Master of Ceremonies will come out to the central loggia here, the balcony, open the windows, and they'll come out. And the Cardinal Camerlengo will say, Gaudium Magnum. Gaudium Magnum. It's with great joy that we announce that we have a new Pope. Habemus Papam. Habemus Papam.
Sancte Romane Ecclesiae Cardinale Ratzinger. Sibi nomen imposuit Benedicti XVI.
I signori cardinali hanno eletto me, un semplice, umile lavoratore nella vigna del Signore.
Very happy. I think the right man for the right time.
I think it's a little bit disappointing, to be honest. I think what we were looking for maybe was something more of a liberal-minded Pope who could kind of take it forward.
Generally speaking, I am quite astounded.
We required a Pope who would continue the policies of John Paul II. Ratzinger has been part of the Vatican Council too, one of the rare theologians who has a lot of intellect, a lot of heart.
He's a man who has been deeply divisive in some of his documents, particularly Dominus Jesus, published in 2000, which was very critical of other religions. He described them all as severely deficient. And he also said of the Reformed churches, the Protestant churches, that they weren't churches in the proper sense, that they were merely ecclesial communities, which caused a lot of grief to people in the Protestant faiths. And also he's been very difficult and very, very harsh on gay people, describing it as objectively disordered and homosexuality as intrinsically evil, which is not the sort of language we associate with enlightened philosophers, theologians, or popes these times.
For Korea, he will be well accepted, but I don't know about the European countries.
Well, definitely we have champagne in the fridge. We're going to go open it up tonight and toast to the church, to God and to ourselves, of course.
Almost instantly, the debate over the new pope is being echoed by ordinary Romans in the cafes and bars of the city. The battle lines for the future of the Catholic Church under the new pope are already clear.
Ratzinger is a transitional pope. He won't last long. I don't like him. He's too conservative.
I personally think that Ratzinger was the Pope that God and the Holy Spirit wanted. And I agree with that.
Ratzinger is very closed-minded. He's very for the church.
As midnight approaches, St. Peter's Square is still humming with excitement. The first of the cardinals to emerge from the conclave come to mingle with the late-night crowd.
Did a good job today, huh?
Looking down from above is very moving. I could barely fight back the tears. I could see so much enthusiasm to welcome the new Pope.
I'm very happy that we have a new Pope. I'm happy that with the help of the Holy Spirit, we've been given a new Pope so quickly.
The morning after the election, Austin Ivory, the press secretary to Cardinal Cormac Murphy O'Connor, the Archbishop of Westminster, is organising a press conference for his boss.
Hello, Damien. Yeah, hi, Austin. Hi, 11 o'clock, English College. Press conference.
No, he's not back yet.
No,
he stayed over in the Domus, which is where the residence where the cardinals were staying. And because there's mass this morning, in fact, mass starting about now. Actually in the Sistine Chapel. So the conclave proper actually continues until the end of this mass. What happened was some cardinals came out last night to give interviews and talk to people, but my cardinal didn't.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's nice to be back after a very eventful few days. And, well, we have our new Pope Benedict. I can't think of anyone, really, who's had greater experience. He's a very intelligent man, and he listens.
I mean, there's a huge sales effort going on out here. All the cardinals are trying to say, look, he's not who you think he is. That's the main thing. You give him a chance.
I mean, I do have to say, I mean, sitting in the Sistine Chapel with all these well-dressed figures around, 115 of us before the Last Judgment, it's not just an ordinary... I'm not sure I was supposed to say, but I'll tell you. I've got to break some rule. No.
It's kind of amazing how much they're revealing about this, about the stuff that they're not supposed to reveal.
There was a sort of a gasp all around, and everybody clapped. I think he must have said a prayer. He must have said a prayer. I didn't see his face. I think he had his face down at that point. And, so, I mean, he couldn't have been unaware that this was quite likely to happen, but at that moment, when it actually does, is a very special one. You know what happens? They put in the papers, so I watched them. I thought, God, I'll look at this, because I may not get another chance. So I went along, and they put the papers in, and there was a little machine there that tells you whether it's white smoke or black smoke, just to make it, so I thought it was all clear, but obviously it wasn't too clear. Anyway, we were glad that when it was white smoke, there was going to be bells rung, so there could be no... Was there?
No bells for 10 minutes.
I must tell the Pope about that.
In the piazzas of Rome, life slowly returns to normal. But for journalists, the post-mortem on the election is only just beginning.
He's pretty camp. I get to see him introducing a whole new line of papal lingerie, you know, garter belts and stuff.
And how did you feel last night?
I suppose like everyone else, kind of, wow. I mean, I don't think you could get a better piece of theatre in the world.
Cardinal Ratzinger was not my choice.
I was just stunned. I mean, just on every level, I didn't think, you know, politically, I didn't think it would work that way. I thought, you know, Ratzinger would work to name someone younger.
My immediate feeling was good. You know, as Catholics, we believe the Holy Spirit has a hand in this. It's quite a complex role, and he's been working overtime recently. But I think the Church will be in safe hands, but there's a lot of challenges.
It seems likely that they just couldn't get a candidate that could go head-to-head with them.
They need time, actually, to consolidate themselves. So what they've done by voting in Benedict XVI is to give themselves time.
2 days after the election of Pope Benedict XVI, Rome's printers are busy rushing out the first tourist souvenirs bearing the new Pope's picture.
These are the first images we've bought from the Vatican.
In 2 days' time, a huge inaugural Mass will be held in St. Peter's, effectively Pope Benedict XVI's coronation. This deadline poses an exceptional challenge for the printers.
We're 2 days from the inaugural Mass for the Holy Father. We've been working around the clock to satisfy demand. We were up very early this morning and will work late tonight, if necessary through the night. We've printed about 800,000 cards and posters.
Even though it's now 2 days after the election, Cardinals' secretaries are still dealing with journalists wanting interviews with their bosses to try and sniff out details of what went on in the conclave and what the future may hold.
Let me call the Cardinal, and then we'll figure it out. You're first or second.
Okay, so I'll hang out. I just need to make it.
Sure. Okay.
How does the Cardinal deal with all this press?
Calmly and with good attitude. I'm the one who's always dealing with all the negotiations of the time, so. But he's great. He loves the media, and he's really open.
Have you met Pope Benedict?
I was with him this morning. He met with all the cardinals this morning.
He's not nervous at all about Sunday?
I don't think so. I think he's looking forward to it. He will be preparing for it because he's a very skilled, organized man, and I'm sure we will find a very, very powerful homily that he will give to the world.
Hey, listen, where have you been? Weren't you supposed to come a few days ago?
Father Reggie Foster is the papal Latinist, the Pope's secretary for translating and writing all official documents in Latin.
I think you have a whole, like a file, papal speeches that everyone has to have. Every pope has to have the same speech. Oh, really? I love the young people, and I love the old people, and I love the babies, and I love this, and I love everybody. But everyone's going to say the same thing. He's not going to come along and say, I hate all you. He's not going to do that. Lingua Latina Cervisiam, there it is.
As a Vatican insider, Father Reggie passes on the gossip about what apparently happened in the conclave.
Who else that was? Yeah. Well, of course, Martini was in there, of course. Martini, yeah. And then Tettamanzi from Milano. Ooh, he was one of the leading candidates. They thought he was going to get it.
Until what? How many votes into this?
4. But then all of a sudden, this thing with Martini, the Jesuit, Martini was the rector here years ago. All of a sudden, his name comes up, and then there was a big thing for Martini. So they say at the end it was between Ratzinger and Martini.
Is that right?
And then the vote, that was on Tuesday, afternoon. The first vote, Ray and a whole group of people switched their votes over to Ratzinger, and he won.
Saturday sees the world's media get a rare invitation to enter the Vatican to attend the new Pope's first press conference. Members of the public are also unexpectedly allowed in. After the example of John Paul II, whose success was in no small measure due to his assiduous courting of the media, the new Pope is anxious to thank them for the attention they've given his election.
Thanks to all of you, these historically important ecclesial events have had worldwide coverage. I am aware of the skill and dedication with which you have accomplished your demanding task. In my own name, and especially on behalf of Catholics living far from Rome, I thank you. Padre e Figlio e Spirito Santo. Grazie, arrivederci.
Well, I was a little disappointed, really. I was hoping that I wouldn't really call it a news conference. I think it was more of a statement, and I was somewhat surprised seeing that all he had to say was really thank you for us for being here. I would obviously prefer to have had an opportunity to ask a couple of questions and to get a bit of reaction from him.
He didn't say really nothing very important, just to say thank you for our work.
After the morning's press conference, Benedict XVI is taken to the Pope's private quarters, which had been sealed after John Paul's death. The papal apartments consist of 7 rooms and a private chapel, but the strict German nuns who look after the Pope have forbidden him from bringing his 2 cats. The Pope tries out his new chair, his new desk, and his new name. Elsewhere in the Vatican, choir boys are rehearsing for tomorrow's inauguration. It's not going too well.
Since Easter, it's been pretty horrendous. First Easter week, then the Pope's death, the funeral, and the election. Time wasn't very generous, but we got it done.
The morning of Pope Benedict XVI's inauguration marks the high point of a dramatic week. With heads of state and hundreds of thousands of people in Rome, it seems as though every policeman and woman from Italy's myriad police forces has been drafted in for the occasion. From all over Rome, clerics and public alike flock to St. Peter's to get the best vantage points. Pope Benedict's inauguration marks the end of an extraordinary two-week period, even by Vatican standards. John Paul II's funeral was the largest public event in history. Today's ceremony isn't far behind. After this grand overture, the real work of becoming a pope will begin for the former Cardinal Josef Ratzinger. But how will this man, the spiritual leader of 1 billion Catholics worldwide, shape and influence all our futures?
The Panzer Cardinal, as he's called, is who he is to a great degree. You know, is he going to change dramatically? I don't think so. But, you know, maybe God's Rottweiler, as they call him, will turn into, you know, a Schnauzer puppy.
I think we have to be very, very open. I mean, the jury is out, and we don't know what he's going to be like as a pope.
He's going to be arguing with the modern world. He's going to be debating the modern world, and he's not afraid of that. He's not going to back down from it.
You can see that he's not the man of most robust physical character. On the other hand, he could live to 95 years old. We don't know.
The difficulties that they're going to have now, you know, they've got to sell it to the press. It's going to be a tough job because he comes with baggage that would make, you know, Liz Taylor blush.
A look at the unprecedented series of natural disasters that have ravaged the planet over the last 12 months. The year the Earth went wild is tonight at 8. Coming up next this afternoon, the going looks good for an afternoon of racing.